What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing great. Today we are in my main account and we're gonna be doing a Spider Stage 25 showcase. So before we talk about the team that I've built, I want to show you guys the team that I was using before to kind of see where we were and what we're going to. So this was my old Spider Stage 25 team. The new one I'm really liking. We've been spending the past few days on stream working on it, and we finally got to a point where I think it's perfect. I think it's near perfect now. If any of you know how to speed it up at all, that'd be awesome to see. The best time for it has been like 22 seconds. This team right here, I think is about 35 seconds. This team's a very popular team, okay? If you guys want to see how to build this team, just search it up. I'm sure you'll find it very, very easily. The team I'm going to show you, I don't think I've seen anybody actually use it or actually build it. So hopefully you guys can find this valuable. If you have Crypt King Grawl in your vault, if he didn't come out of your vault for the Spider Solo Stage 20 team, then hopefully he comes out of your vault for this. So my team before was 36 seconds, and my team now, let's check it out. Right here, this Kymar team, I didn't really want to strip my Kymar down, so I'm not actually using that. This team right here, let's see what it goes for. Now, I don't know if this actually changes anything, but I did put my Renegade in the leader spot, so she would be right here. So ideally, these two Spiderlings in the back would have less distance to travel. Whether that's true or not, I don't really know, but it sounded cool, so that's what I did. I put her up front so they would have less room to travel, so they would hopefully speed up the run overall just a little bit. I'll talk about the speeds and everything, but 22 seconds. So we saved, what, 13 seconds overall? I'd say it's pretty good. 13 seconds saved. So if you're doing CVC, try and get as many points as you can, doing a lot of Spider Stage 25, this is going to be a very solid option for those of you who don't have SICIA. I don't have SICIA, so this is going to be my new main Spider team. I'm going to try Crypt King in other areas, but let me show you guys the build and the presets, okay? So the build currently, the preset functions are Renegade, no presets, 111 speed. The speed is very important on Renegade. I want to make sure the Cold Hearts are just a few speed above double her speed. So basically the Cold Hearts need to be at least 222 speed. Actually, let's just say 223. So at least 223 speed, so that once the Cold Hearts take their 2 turns, Renegade's going to reset, and their 3rd turn directly after that is going to be a Heartseeker. Because with Renegade, she only does 2-turn cooldown reduction, whereas champions like Kymar and those other champions fully reset it. So you got to make sure you have those in between turns. Before, I tried having the Cold Hearts pretty slow, and the Renegade would reset, and it'd just be kind of clunky. So I don't want Renegade to take any more than 1 turn, and I want the Cold Hearts to Heartseeker as soon as possible after the initial Heartseeker at the very beginning of the match, right? Now, Crypt King Grawl, this is the very important one. He's at 302 speed. I want him to be at least double the Spiderling speed so that he can do his AoE HP burn and do his freeze. So this ability right here, the AoE HP burn, is incredible. I mean, it's going to burn everybody except for 2 Spiderlings, because when he gets his turn, 2 more Spiderlings are going to drop down afterwards, and he's not going to burn those. So you're missing out on 2 burns, but this seems to be the best way for me so far to make this work. And then after that, I have this ability set to number 1 priority. We'll run it a few more times in just a minute, but number 1 priority, just make sure he's at least 301 speed. Should be perfectly fine, okay? 302, I've had him 307, and works good. Just do whatever you can with your gearing. If you can throw a stun set on him, that's perfect, but if not, don't worry about it. I don't have a stun set on mine. The Cold Hearts are all going to be the same presets. Don't use A2, only use the A1, or focus on using the A1. The A2 just does too much damage, and you don't need to use it. So the Cold Hearts are all at 70% crit rate, like a Cold Heart should be, at least 70% crit rate. And the speed, I don't want to go too high, but I also don't want to go below that 222, 223 number. So you'll see all the Cold Hearts are very close in speed, 224 being the closest to the Renegade. They're all close in speed. I don't want to get anything out of whack, and this seems to work very, very well. Also, make sure the accuracy is at a good number. Now, I'm going to show you guys a link to a document that could help. I'll post it down in the top comment down below. So if you guys want to go here, this is Ash Voyager's RSL damage multipliers. Go down here to the damage calculator, and then put Cold Heart in here, and then type in the enemy's information. So the Spider we're going against has 4,185 defense, and then 7,735,320 HP. Plug those numbers in, and then what you're going to look at, assuming your champions are booked, which they should be, as far as the Cold Hearts go, the Crypt King Grawl only needs his A2 ability booked. We're going to get into all the gearing in just a second. But down here, you want the booked A3 minimum damage to be at least 773,000 damage if you truly want to min-max this, because that's going to allow you to make sure every single time your Heartseeker goes off, it's at least going to do that 773,000 damage, which is the max amount of damage that can be done based on enemy max HP, right? Like it's capped out at 10%. So that's what I've done. With Savage gear, you're going to need at least 205% crit damage. Don't worry about attack. Attack scales so badly with Cold Hearts. So you can add, let's say, 4,000 attack on them, and the damage number down here is not going to change much at all. So crit damage is what you want to change. You can see 225. I don't know if you guys can actually see this or not. It's probably very, very small on your screen. But down here, crit damage boosts up a lot. Now, I actually overshot my damage just a little bit. I can go back and lower their crit damage to 205 and be perfectly fine. That's in Savage gear. And if you take them out of Savage gear, let's see what we would need. So down here, 625, let's do 300, 300% crit damage, overshooting, 275, 768, so let's do 280. I bet 280 is probably the sweet spot. Yeah, so 280% crit damage with no Savage gear. That's what you would need with those accuracy and speed requirements as well. If you throw on a cruel set of gear, then that's going to drop the requirements, of course. So do with that as you guys see fit, plug in the numbers, play around with it. If you guys want to min-max it, if you don't really care about min-maxing it, then don't worry. With the masteries and skills, let's look at Crypt King first. So his all of mine are booked, but they don't have to be. So his A2 ability, you do want the books to go there. If you get lucky, if you have the book RNG blessing you today, then and everything lands here, don't worry about any more books. This A3 ability does damage, and honestly, you don't even want the extra damage. The A1, decrease attack, don't need that, don't need the damage. This A2 though, you do want the buff and debuff chance. You don't really need the cooldown reduction because Renegade's gonna be resetting it anyways, but I would recommend trying to get this fully booked. Definitely getting the buff and debuff chance fully booked because not landing those HP burns could possibly ruin the run and most likely will ruin the run. I didn't use him as the HP lead aura because Renegade needs to be the lowest HP. And since she has higher base HP than the Cold Hearts, if you put Crypt King Grawl with his HP aura in the lead, he's going to increase everybody's HP based off of their base, which is going to give Renegade a higher boost than the Cold Hearts, making her most likely higher HP than the Cold Hearts and making them get focused before she does. So make sure Renegade has the lowest HP of everybody. Honestly, she doesn't really need much gear at all. I have given her some defense because when those spiralings hit her, you do want her to survive a few hits. Honestly, I would stack her defense to a safe space, a safe spot, whatever amount you feel comfortable with. At least 3,200 would be the goal to make her survive some hits. Resistance, you could even throw resist on her to be 300 plus if you guys wanted to do that. Make her resist those poisons. Maybe take some less damage, but you want to make sure she at least gets off that first sacrificial ritual, the only ability that she should be using. You could get her to 151 speed as well. Just gear your Cold Hearts around accordingly. It's not going to ruin the run. If the Cold Hearts aren't using the Heartseeker right after she does that A3 ability, it's not going to ruin the run. If you get her to 151 speed, she'll at least be able to reset all the cooldowns, and it could be perfectly fine. But it is one thing to keep in mind. If you have her at this low speed, she will need to tank a few of the Spiraling's hits. I've tried her in Stone Skin just as like a test to see an easy gearing way. Doesn't work. She dies. And well, it doesn't work because the Spiralings don't target her. So you could throw her in a shield set. You could throw another Cold Heart in a shield set if you wanted. Obviously, Renegade's not going to be the best shield set option because you don't want her to have much HP at all. But that shield set could give you enough shield in addition to her other stats to actually help her survive those Spiralings hits. Now, her masteries, they don't matter whatsoever. Crypt King Grawl's masteries, very, very simple. I should have went over these a second ago, but it's very, very simple. I don't have Oppressor because Oppressor made him take too many turns, wasn't worth it, and may take too long. So I don't have Oppressor. I just got some basic accuracy ones. You guys can fill it in whatever you want, but just keep in mind, if you have Turn Meter Boost, it's going to make him take more turns, and ideally, you don't want him taking any more turns than what he absolutely needs to. Now for the Cold Hearts, this is a pretty important part. This Cold Heart right here has Flawless Execution, and I would rather, honestly, all of these Cold Hearts have Flawless Execution. I have War Master on them because War Master is the only way to get bonus damage or additional damage past that 10% of enemy max HP cap that Plarium has in the game on bosses past stage 20. So the only way to get extra damage is having War Master down at the bottom. That's what I picked up. It's not a ton of damage, and I don't think it's actually speeding my runs up, but having Flawless Execution would allow me to gear much lower or much easier because I would have a built-in 20% crit damage, and you guys already seen how much of a boost that gives just from the Ash Voyager spreadsheet, right? Which is incredible. So definitely consider that. Definitely consider going ahead and getting Flawless Execution. The rest of the masteries, just build them as you see fit. Get the extra accuracy because the accuracy is very important. You could try to do just 2 Cold Hearts with a 200 plus accuracy, but keep in mind, if RNG is not in your favor whatsoever, one of the Cold Hearts or even both the Cold Hearts could miss their turn meter reduction. The Big Spire could take a turn. It could be bad. But most likely you'd be safe if you had one Cold Heart without the turn meter reduction, but something to keep in mind. I think that is all the little pieces of details. This team isn't that complicated. Originally, I tried to make the team with Renegade going first so that these two spots, like watch this right here. So we have all the Spiralings drop. Crypt King does his stuff, okay? 2 more Spiralings drop, and then 2 Spiralings in the back drop, and then the Cold Heart does her stuff. Ideally, it would be somebody going in front of Renegades, or in front of Crypt King Grawl. I had Renegade go before Crypt King Grawl. Didn't work out great. It worked out okay, but having to have 2 champions above 300 speed was kind of difficult. My gear doesn't really make a lot of sense for it, so I dropped that idea. Then I tried having a Cold Heart go before Crypt King and having Renegade go slow. Once again, didn't really work. The turn meters were kind of weird, and I just had to scrap that idea. And then eventually I decided, hey, let's go ahead and try Crypt King at 300 speed. Try him going first. We're not going to get the most efficient with the burns, but this is the only option I have. I gave it a shot, and it seems to work perfectly fine. 23 seconds, and it's very, very consistent. Honestly, there's not very many runs that I've had any worries whatsoever, and the runs where the Cold Heart dies, if a Cold Heart does die, the burns and stuff kill the Spiralings fine. Ideally, the Cold Hearts each get at least 2 Heartseekers off. They're not going to get any more than that, but preferably 2 Heartseekers. If they only get 1 and 1 Cold Heart maybe misses hers, not a huge deal. So you see here, Renegade's taking some hits. You need her to be tanky enough to at least take a few. 22 seconds, pretty daggone consistent 22 seconds, guys. So if you want to use for Crypt King Grawl, like I said, the solo Spider Stage 20 team didn't convince you to get a Crypt King Grawl built, but you have one, you've been sitting on him for a while, this could be a great team to build. It's definitely going to be my new Spider Stage 20 team for CVC farming because my silver is getting a little bit low. Used to, this would be super high for me, but to be honest, with all the silver costs for gear and how much gear I have that I need to upgrade, that is getting to be a pretty scarily low number. So guys, I hope you enjoy this video. The only champion I think you could replace Crypt King with would be Tunisia. I'm not 100% sure if she would actually replace him. You can try it, same build. If you have Tunisia, let me know if she works for you because I'm very curious if she would work. I don't see why she wouldn't because I know she's absolutely incredible, but she may not. I know she has some turn meter reductions, so it may change things, but guys, give it a shot. If you have Tunisia, you don't have Crypt King, it could be worth building. If anybody does have Tunisia and you do try this team out, definitely leave it down in the comment section below because I'm sure other people with Tunisia would also like to know as well. I don't think there's any other champions who could substitute in for Crypt King Grawl though, because Crypt King just brings exactly what you need, right? He brings the HP burn, and then he brings the freeze. If you had any other champion with a lockout and an HP burn, that could be great, like a stun, freeze, provoke, possibly. I don't think Ignatius would work. He would maybe work. The issue with Ignatius though would be they're still attacking. The Spiralings are still attacking, so his build would be much more demanding and much more difficult to achieve. And it wouldn't be nearly as fast because the Spiralings would be taking their animations and actually doing the attack still. So guys, hope you all enjoy this video. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.